Thanks for joining us on Key Factors, presented by theraceguide.com.au. Stu Richard and Mike Wood here to take you through the quaddy leagues for this weekend's big meeting at Randwick. It's going to be an interesting one. We've got Winks back. What do you say? She's back in town. Let's get her home.
We just keep talking about her, Stu, this season, don't we? She is the best horse in Australia. She's back again. She had the one run which we missed, which is unfortunate, but her last run in Sydney for the spring, so get out there on Saturday. It's going to be a fantastic day.
It is going to be a fantastic day. It's the Colgate Optic White Stakes Day. George Main Day, call it what you like, it is Winks Day, but there's a lot of racing before that. Mike, take us through it. Yeah,
the first race kicks off at 12:15. Let's look at these all-important race conditions which make the difference for us looking at these quaddy legs tonight. It's a good 4 on Saturday. The rain didn't come this week that we expected, so it could get to a good 4 on Saturday. We're expecting the rails back in the true, and usually when the rails in the true, we get an off-rails bias at Randwick.
Well, that's it. That's what we're looking for this weekend. But look, let's step right into the quaddie. The first leg, well, it happens to be Winks. It is the Colgate Optic White Stakes. It is the Group 1 at weight for age over the 1,600 metres, and it's all about Winks. Are they just running for second?
Absolutely. I mean, let's go through the motions with these key factors. I mean, everyone knows what the tip's going to be, potentially on top, but let's go through the key factors anyway. It may be the race for second is going to be interesting in this race. We talked about the bias before and the conditions of the good 4. Once again, only a steady tempo for Winks. There's not many leaders in this race. So across the 3 key factors based on those conditions, position and run and sprint, always important for these tactical style of races, and distance, the Randwick Mile, which these horses are going to love it on Saturday.
Well, there we go, and that's an interesting look at it. And let's have a look across to the market, which it is Winks. I mean, what can we say? $1.15 hasn't really been backed like its last few times. $1.26 in and $1.15 in, but look, solid in the market there. Good on Darren Weir for bringing up Toast and Stardom, second in the market there at 11, and Haraki, what a win last start, and Laramain, well, we're still not sure if he's running.
Well, yeah, Laramain may race on Friday in Newcastle. We'll see that. Great Esteem comes up from Melbourne as well, so he's an interesting runner. It's a really great race. Obviously, Winks is on top. Let's have a look at Winks, second up, last preparation, at weight for age, at Group 1 level, over 1,600 metres. This was a tricky day. There was an on-pace bias, but she's got all the armoury she needs to overcome bias like this, and she's up there, outside, cruising to the lead now, Stu.
Yeah, look, not much more to say. That's Winks just hitting the lead now. But the second one in behind there, that's Haraki that's actually going with her, sort of till the last sort of 50, 75 metres, but that was something we really liked.
Yeah, an easy third for Haraki. He's run a placing 3 times to Winks before. He's always in behind her and not far off, really.
Well, there we go. And it's Haraki that we're going to zoom on as well for the second replay of the night in the Winks races, obviously.
Yeah, we could look to Winks first up. Everyone's seen her demolition job first up. Let's have a look at Haraki first up. He was equal, well, maybe not equally as good, but he was pretty good. He sprinted really well down the outside and got a much-needed win.
I'll tell you one thing, you said that, much-needed win. Godolphin, a little bit under pressure, but this day especially, that was a really big win from Haraki and potentially a massive spring ahead for the boys in blue.
Yeah, the sectional from the 4 to the 2 was fantastic, just like Laramain on the inside. It's somewhat in 4th, was perfectly fine too. He's better up to 16 on Saturday.
Well, that's better up to 16. Is that going to be one of our key factors looking across? We've got a few to look at here, Mike.
Yeah, let's look across those key factors and see basically if there's anything that can beat Winks. I mean, if anything, Winks could be out-sprinted by some horses, but really, she's been sprinting so well of late, you can't see that happening. Haraki can go with her for a bit, but the last 200 he won't be strong enough. It's somewhat, gets a great position in run on the pace outside the lead, and Winks over the Randwick Mile. She's won there before. She is fantastic.
No gold bars all the way through there for Winks. Very interesting.
Yeah, it's the position in run. A little bit tricky, but she should be okay.
Oh, there we go. And well, look, summing these up, I mean, look, Winks is probably going to be on top. Well, there we are. She's 13. It is on top. It's Haraki, though, that's got a clear second rating there, and is that the way we see it?
Yeah, it's clear ratings there, clear order. Tozen started him up from Melbourne. He's a bit of a wind-up horse. He's a bit of a surge horse. It doesn't have the best turn of foot. He was a strong tempo first up for over a mile. So potentially he's gone down in the ratings. So let's just go to our best bet. Let's get it over and done with. I mean, Winks for us is a fantastic mare. She will win on Saturday. She's got all the armoury that she needs to win this race. Bowman can get her going from the 500 and she will just keep going to the line. She's on top. Let's stick with the Sydney form lines for the trifecta. Winks on top, straight out into Haraki, who's placed behind her before. And it's somewhat, his run was okay first up.
Winks into Haraki, into somewhat the boys in blue in behind, but it's all Winks. It's blue colours all the way through there.
Easy as that, Stu, easy as that.
Well, look, that's leg 1. It hasn't been too much value, but it is Winks, so we can't do too much with it. Let's jump straight into leg 2 of the quaddie, and it is the shorts. It's always a time-honoured race, goes back a very long time, I think over 100 years. Yeah,
this is a time-honoured race. It usually gets a good field. Last year wasn't potentially the best field. Rebel Dame, the last time he won was this race last year. The way the race sets up this year, a good 4 and off-rails bias we talked about. Lots of tempo in this race. More than half the field can go forward, so we're expecting a strong tempo. Once again, for all these races on Saturday, positioning runs really critical for us. Potentially a bit wider, a bit off the pace this time is better. Weight's a key factor because it's a set weights event. And stage of preparation, there's a few fresh horses ready to fire on Saturday.
And it is a few of those fresh horses that are very dominant in the market as well. It might be just one of those days, early spring, and back we come, the fresh horses. But it is English on top there at 260, and well, clearly innocent from Scone back to town. And Japonas, mate, what do you make of his last start out to $8?
Yeah, it's hard to read Japonas, isn't it? His first up run, he's usually so reliable. His first up one wasn't fantastic. In terms of the replays, let's look at those two. Let's look two of the fresh horses, starting off with English first up last preparation. She ran a placing in the Golden Slipper. She was trying the house down before this first up run. And if you're back to this day, Stu, this is a fantastic watch. She's back here in the rails with the white cap.
Absolutely, and it's only really at about the 200 that she actually slices back to the inside, but that was really what we love seeing at the end.
Yeah, a genuine turn of foot you don't see in too many horses, especially Waterhouse horses. Not many of her horses are real sprinters, but yeah, right now, back to the inside, dashes through way too easy. Boss Lane out wide was pretty strong. And Ball of Muscle just weakening late like he sometimes does. He's the number one there in about 6th spot.
That could have been another Darren Flindell bang there. It was a big finish, wasn't it? And there's another one here that also looked to be cruising and also went bang.
Well, yeah, talking about big performances first up, this had the ratings analysts, really excited first up. Last preparation, Kaepernick at Scone. He's sort of tracking up here in the white, coming wider, always cruising in this race. He didn't know quite what he was going to do till he got out, but boy, did he run home strongly.
Absolutely. And that's just coming down the outside. Now, have a look at this big crowd at Scone. They're all just standing up and cheering. Look what he does here at the finish. That's massive.
Yeah, ins and out, a really solid sprinter in second, but this was too easy. Kaepernick striding away over 1,100 metres. That's a big margin for a short-distance sprint race.
That's pretty easy to watch, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, look, we've had a look at a couple of those replays. So who's coming up on top here with the gold bars?
Well, yeah, good look for those gold bars and, straight away, English straight across the top. The barrier 10's perfect for her on Saturday. She can get back, settle off the speed and storm home late. Dothraki just blending into the pack. We think he's got a good position in run 2. Weight, they're the 3 horses that are well weighted. And we talked about the first up horses, English and Kaepernick. They're ready to fire on Saturday. And
it is, well, potentially one we're going to see there with 3 gold bars across the page. And let's face it, that should probably be on top of the ratings. And that's the next thing that we're going to see here. And it is English on 12 there, and that solid, genuine performing behind Dothraki, and then, a little bit back to this, but we've got 2 clear raiders out top there.
Yeah, what do you do with Japonisme after that first up run? It's pretty hard. Kaepernick, what a great performance, but he's just a bit out of his grade and clearly innocent. We haven't talked about him much, but he's going to perform over Flemington 1,600 metres this spring. You watch out for him, but Randwick 1,100 first up may not be his go.
And I see one there at about the $50 mark as well. Smart Volatility also in the mix there in the ratings.
Yeah, very sneaky bet for sure.
Oh, well, that's always good to see for part of the quaddy. And how are we going to wrap it up as a bet?
Well, yeah, we saw there were 2 clear top raiders, so there's no real choice for us. The ratings have done the job for us. So English on top for us, barrier 10, no problems for her. She'll be storming home late with a fantastic turn of foot. And Dothraki, Blake, Shin, blending into the pack, really, really reliable, great each way odds. They'll shorten on Saturday for sure.
Well, we've started off the 2 legs of the quaddy this weekend at Randwick. We've gone early with Winks and also English there, but we're going to come back with the Bill Ritchie on the other side of this break. Welcome back to Key Factors, presented by theraceguide.com.au. 2 legs of the quaddy down in Sydney this weekend, and it's time to look at the Bill Ritchie with a few 4-year-olds on the way up for the 3rd leg of the quaddy this weekend, Mike.
Yeah, this is the quaddy killer like last week. It's the 3rd leg, a really tricky race, and the race conditions will be all important. So let's start off with them. A 1,400 metre Group 3 race. Some of these horses backing up from the tramway a couple of weeks ago. A good 4. Fair to steady in this race. Not too many horses going forward. So across the 3 key factors based on those conditions, position around once again. We've got a few tempo tricks, off rails again, so you need to get the right spot near the pace, off the rails. A good 4 suits some of these horses better than others. And sprint, because of the possible steady tempo, you want horses quickening from the 4 to the 200 metres.
We sure do, especially at Randwick, that's for sure. Look, let's have a look at the market here. We've got Happy Clapper. He comes back second up. Very strong in the market again. Had a really big drift first up, but it's interesting to see right at the top there again. Zaritza in behind, and Federal for Godolphin there, Handfast, Torgerson. There's a few in the market here, as you said, and it's really competitive.
Yeah, lots of replays we could have looked at looking at that market. There's lots of different form lines, lots of interesting replays to look at in your form guides for this race on Saturday. Let's look at potentially the best form line, a Group 1 form line behind Winks, second up for Happy Clapper, last preparation. He's a fantastic horse. Everyone knows how good he is. He takes a while to warm up. He's here on the outside. Probably from the 4 to the 2, he's not going as well as some of the other horses, but as he always does, that last little bit, Stu, is really, really strong, and he smashes that line.
Smashing the line's a big thing, especially at Randwick, and that's what a few of the boys in their team love. But have a look at the horse inside here. That's First Seal, who he's just ranging up to there, and just have a look after the post here. Really does, really come past there at the line.
Yeah, there's no First Seals, no Winxes in this race is on Saturday, so that's a great form reference, a Group 1 form reference, a weight for age.
Well, from a Group 1 form reference to another horse called Federal, this is one that's, from the Godolphin team, and one that's, come back in good shape.
Well, yeah, this horse is still on the way up as well. He's another horse that's on the way up, and this is probably, from a form rating perspective, one of the best performances in this race of recent times. Is here on the outside. He's against 1,200 metre horses in this race. So what he's showing here is he's showing his power, he's showing his turn of foot, and he's finishing alongside some pretty good sprinters here, Stu.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's Music Magnate, who's just hitting the lead now, and look at that, fast and rocking up the inside there. So definitely surrounding himself with some, proven sprinters there.
Yeah, and at equal weights as well. So that's a great form reference for this race on Saturday. If he can produce that performance again.
Well, if he can produce it, that's one thing. Tell us a bit more, taking us through the key ratings. Can he do that?
Well, yeah, positives and negatives everywhere. You look in this race, Sons of John's the one that can sort of blend into the race just off the pace a bit wider. He's got a bit of tactical speed, which is important. Mighty Lucky also, a bit of tactical speed out wider that could be a good spot to be in. Happy Clapper, much better on a good track compared to what he was first up. The replay we looked at was a good track. And both Godolphin horses, Federal and the other Godolphin horse, have a good sprint, handfast, and so does Saritsa. She's got a great turn of foot too.
Well, if you're looking at that position in run, you're going to say that this is probably a very open race. And as we look across at the overall ratings, wow, it's 10.5, 10.5, 10 up. So we really do have 3 there on top, but Happy Clapper's only just in behind, and then a whole bunch at 9.5. So it really is open wide for the guys in the office. Yeah,
we said this last week, picking a horse when you've done hours of analysis, you end up with a stacked field, but you've got to be honest with yourself. When the field is this stacked and you're not sure who's going to win, this is the honest truth of the race. So picking the best bet was quite tricky for us. What we did do here was look for value. You compare the ratings, compare that to the market, and maybe going for a couple of unfashionable trainers is quite a good idea here. Jason Attard does a great job with Sons of John. He's a really strong horse. He can get the right position on Saturday, and he will be strong right to the line. And Mighty Lucky, probably one of the most underrated horses in all of Australia. He's been fantastic the last few runs, and he's massive odds on Saturday.
Yeah, he always goes around a bit of a price, doesn't it?
He does, and just the last few runs, he's been winning half his starts.
Well, that's leg 3 of the quaddie, and let's wrap it up here in the 4th leg of the quaddie. That might not be the quaddie killer, but that was the 3rd leg. But we're heading across. It's a Census Dash. It's a benchmark 78, and a couple of reliable types in the race. Yeah,
we want a reliable type one to get out stakes, don't you, Stu, to sort of get yourself out of a hole potentially. It's a benchmark 78, a lower grade race once again to finish us off, but it's a good betting race, 1,200 metres, good 4, and a fair tempo for once. There's a couple from out wide going forward that should set up a fair speed. So going across to the 3 key factors based on those conditions. Position and run, once again, it's got to be a key factor for us. There's a couple that get the gun run just off that pace. Distance, some of the horses are better suited to 1,200 metres. And we talked about reliability. Which of these horses are the ones you can rely on for a good bet on Saturday?
Well, in such a big field, I'd definitely be wanting one of those reliable types. And if we have a look at the market, it is Daisy Doom on top, and she's definitely a reliable type. But Torpenhow behind at 460, we've got Brigadoon Rise at 850, Sonic Swish there at $9, no doubt, and out to Burradoo at 11. So, big field, but it is $4 a field.
Well, let's get straight into looking at Daisy Doom for the replay. You talked about how reliable she was. She's raced 3 times. She's won 3 times. What else can you do? She was on the pace this day, pushing forward a little bit wider, making the pace, really making it a strong tempo. This was only her 2nd ever race, and this is the day we learnt just how gutsy she was. It's about this moment with a couple of good black type horses running at her. You think she might lie down, but she doesn't, does she?
No, absolutely not. Strong. I really thought, she was battling there, and then look at that, the way she accelerated to the finish there. That's what you want to see, a really strong win.
Well, it's more surge there, isn't it? It's more strength to the line. A real genuine horse towards the end of the line is what you want to see over those finishing stages.
And we've got another reliable type to look at in Burradoo as well.
Well, this is almost a carbon copy, isn't it, Stu? And we looked through the replays and we saw this one. We thought we have to show this one if we show Daisy Doom. This is Burradoo up on the pace. In once again a race that we thought had a pretty strong tempo. We thought he'd be off the pace this day, but he took control with young Nick Hayward on board, who rides him really well the last couple of starts. And once again, just when you think he might lie down, strong to the line again.
Absolutely lifts. And you mentioned one of those apprentices there. Could be a bit of a race for them. I think there's 5 in the race here, so it could be a good chance for them to get into a bit of spring form as well.
Yeah, these benchmark 78s give them a chance to get 1 or 2 more wins before the real big spring races start.
And so a couple of those reliable types, reliability is obviously a key factor there. And we've got Daisy Doom across in golden bars here.
Straight across the top, Daisy Doom, you can't go wrong really. Position run, she's one of the 2 horses with Burradoo that could get a nice run off the pace. There's only 2 or 3 that could get that on pace position, so she gets the gold bar for that. Distance don't worry about her going from 11 to the 12. She's fine. She's been smashing the line so far. And reliability. How can you go wrong with a horse as genuine as her? She gets the gold bar for reliability as well.
Genuine reliability. Let's have a look at the overall key factor ratings here, and it is one of those that comes out on top. It is Daisy Doom at 13, Burradoo at 11, and Brigadoon rising behind. So a real clear top rater there in a big field, and one at a bit of odds there, $11 coming in second at the ratings in Burradoo. Yeah,
a couple of the 4-year-olds could surprise us, Brigadoon Rise, etc. But they may need a little bit further. But Daisy Doom is a 1200-metre horse, and she's a clear top rater. So going straight across to the best bet, no points for guessing. She's a 2-point clear top rated. She's super reliable. She won't do you wrong on Saturday. She's a great each way bet. It's unbelievable. She's actually each way odds on Saturday. So get on early. And the exact of the 2 genuine types. You'll get a good run from Burradoo as well.
Sounds like you got some real confidence there.
Well, yeah, she maps really well. Torpenhow we haven't talked about much, but he wasn't that great first up, so keep a watch on him.
Could be coming home skinny in the quaddie legs. Well, look, let's have a look. Let's wrap those quaddie legs up. It's well, let's start off with race 6 in Winks, and it's obviously short there, but it's coming home short as well.
Well, it's sort of fat and then skinny, isn't it, this quaddie? It's sort of strange to look at on the page, but obviously Winks, everyone's going to have Winks. Don't bother ticking another box there. English and Dothraki, you could put Japanisme if you want to forgive him. You could put Kaepernick if you want to put another sweeper in. Race 8, plenty there. We're not sure which of those horses out of that 6 will win, but we think it'll be one of those 6. And Daisy Doom, we've talked about how we think she'll win on Saturday too.
Plenty of value there in the third leg, and the other leg's quite skinny, so I'm happy with that. Let's give that a go.
Yeah, if you're gonna ride a horse home, it's a horse like Daisy Doom.
That's what we want to see. Look, well, thanks for tuning in to Key Factors. The feature race guides are now online, and we'll have more of those at 9 a.m. tomorrow. We'll be back next week, and thanks for tuning in.